It's still happy hour with John Gaskins, so go ahead, have another.
Man, it feels awfully good for these words to fly out of my mouth. It is game week for season 2 of the Dan Jackson era at South Dakota State. And we'll be chatting with the head coach every Monday. And so, with the exception of the bye week in the smack dab middle of the season, from here to forth, we'll be chatting about a game that was played on Saturday. And that is so awesome. So it's good to see Dan in his office on a Monday. I know he's ready to go for Stetson at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And digging through social media, SDSU football, social media, things that are happening right now, even since we last chatted with you almost 2 weeks ago at Media Day, Dan. Stuff like John Stiegelmeier joining and talking with the team about a week ago, and some former players came by to announce some new scholarships for guys, I believe on Saturday. Just what kinds of things have been going on that make you more excited for the season?
Correct. Yeah, the fall camp never stops, so there's always something, each day. Coach Stig actually, so we do team meetings every evening, every day during fall camp, and I'll run those, or a different coach, or we'll have somebody from campus come in. So President Dunn has spoke to the team within the last week. Justin Sell, our athletic director, and his wife, Jenny Sell, who runs our academics, they were at practice and were able to get in front of the team. Coach Stiegelmeier is always one of my favorites, and so he got to talk to the team. I think it's so important that the players, this is really the last class of guys that would have either played or been recruited by Stig going through. So I want to make sure that our younger players know who he is. And then our former players doing a really good job supporting the team. And they're in front of our guys quite a bit. And our players understand the importance of the brotherhood and the family and the fraternity that exists for them when their careers are over. But for them to come back and award some scholarships is meant everything, because a lot of guys that are in the JFPA may have started as a walk-on and they remember what it's like to earn a scholarship. And I think it's also a good reminder that it's not all about NIL. And in a world where we get caught up in fancy cars and how many millions of dollars, there's still kids out there working really hard that can get brought to tears for a scholarship. And so it was a lot of fun to have our JFPA back. There were some cool names and faces back to help announce those.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Center gave out the running back scholarship to Brendan Begeman, so that was pretty cool. The videos out there on SDSU football, you can sense and feel the excitement, the brotherhood in the room. But take us there, just like the goosebumps it gives everybody who's in that room when these guys in front of their whole team learn that they've earned a scholarship. The guys who've been walking on, many of them for years. Yeah,
what you feel in those moments is the team is really close, and our walk-ons and scholarship players, you wouldn't know if you came to practice or a workout. There's no divide or division between those two groups, and our walk-on players get the same locker and gear and food and meals that we would provide to anybody. But the locker room, when they become so close that the players end up knowing who's on scholarship or a walk-on or who's working so hard, or we talk a lot about what somebody's why might be or why they're doing this or what drives them to be a jackrabbit. And oftentimes our non-scholarship players talk about wanting to earn a scholarship, and this was their dream to play at South Dakota State. And you look at a Bowden Schiller, for instance, just right here from Volga. I mean, this was his dream. This is what he grew up wanting to do, and he got an opportunity to walk on, and now to actually earn the scholarship, not just have it be handed to him, to earn it for his play and his merit. That's really validating. And so the rest of the team is so excited for those guys because they see how hard they work. And then the emotions, those guys don't know that that's coming. I actually was talking to a couple of them the day before about just telling them to keep working hard and maybe they can get it, and then the next day they earned it. So it was fun to see those things. And then their families, when they're calling back home and calling their mom and dad and getting the scholarship, that's also telling them that they earned the scholarship is also a very emotional time.
Yeah. Well, it's one element of building chemistry and culture, words used so often, but understandably so important to any business, any team, a football operation with over 100 players. And a bunch of coaches and staff as well. I'm curious, though. This is the time of year where everybody's undefeated. Everybody's so excited to go. And most teams, even teams that were lousy last year, might say, well, the culture and chemistry is great. It's never going to be higher than it is right at the start of the year. In your experience, and if you'd like to point it out specifically, fine, or you can be vague about it. But how easily can a chemistry or a culture be challenged, especially early in the season, especially maybe a lot of teams you've played or coached for, SDSU, Northern Illinois, Vandy, Idaho, where they were expected to be really good, as you guys are. And then early on, stuff starts happening. The offense fails the defense or vice versa. Stuff goes wrong, especially in games where teams are favored. Your team is favored to win or favored to win by a lot, and you have trouble getting to the finish line. How do you prevent culture and chemistry from breaking down? And have you seen it break down?
The culture and the chemistry, if it's based on the results of a game, then you don't really have very strong culture and chemistry to begin with. Our players care about each other in this program way beyond the wins and the losses. If that was it, the JFPA wouldn't exist if this program was just about the wins and the losses, because there's a lot of guys that were involved in that group that may have won 5 or 6 games in a year, and maybe they didn't. I mean, there's only been 2 teams win the national championship, but there's a lot of strong teams and groups that have been here. And so anyways, I would say first for us heading into this year, we're worried about one day at a time. And our players are so mature now, and our leaders are helping carry the message that they're not so much worried about the results. They understand that if they put in the work on a day-to-day basis, and we play as the most disciplined, physical, connected team in the country on Saturdays, we're going to like those results more often than not, and we'll be able to live with the results, as long as we play to our best. So we're focusing on maximizing every second with each other, playing our best football all the time, whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of practice or Saturday of game day. Let's focus on how we can get better and improve. Let's be honest with each other. Let's block out any sort of noise. As much as I love you, John, I mean, whatever you and people on Twitter say mean nothing. It absolutely means nothing.
Break my heart.
Now, yeah, it's to us. And so I love that so many people are interested, because we're doing something cool, right? We get the chance to play football and at a university with a lot of standards. But for us, we're focused on being our best, blocking out outside noise. There hasn't been a perfect football game played yet. So we're going to try our best to put one together this Saturday, but or this year, but there'll always be something to improve on. And yeah, I think from a culture standpoint, our culture was tested a year ago, and we made it through some challenging times. So I'm not really worried about the culture being tested as much as us just playing our best football.
Sure. You mentioned one day at a time, and Stig's big thing is go 1-0 today or this week or whatever. And he was there about a week ago to speak to the team. What was his message this time around to the 2026 Jacks?
His message was centered around belief, which is not foreign to our players, because when you work for Coach Stig for as long as I did, and when you then break off to other programs, you learn things from other programs and you grow. But, your foundation of what you learned as a college football coach was Coach Stig. And so I've carried a lot of the same vernacular. Our players, we talk about belief all the time, and it isn't belief needing proof. It's a little bit more of a concept of faith, of believe in one another, believe that you can win every game, believe that everybody's an All-American, believe that you have the best position coach and head coach and strength coach in the country. And so he talked to them about the power of belief in not waiting to believe. And then maybe one of the cooler messages I thought was he asked the team, who was going to be the one that steps up to win the big game this year. And, he gets asked a lot of questions about how we're going to be. And his point was that it may not be somebody that's even on the field. It's the guy that's on the scout team or the guy that's given the look. And how important is the scout team's safety giving Chase Mason the best look that he can get? And if that look is game-like on Tuesday and Wednesday, then Chase will play well on Saturday, and that scout team player that didn't even play in the game really helped us win. And so he talked a lot about the value that everybody provides on a football team and how they all help us win.
Well, you mentioned Chase. That's the cracked door to question number one of the actual season about him. Of course, Jackrabbits are picked strongly to win the Missouri Valley Football Conference. I know you don't care. And third in the polls nationally to start the season. And a big reason why is Chase. And we all know how great he was. Really good numbers last year as a junior. 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. We know his freak athletic ability, his speed, his strength. The zip he puts on the ball. Accuracy, as Matt Zimmer pointed out in a Chase Mason season preview story at Sioux Falls Live. Accuracy, not at an NFL level, but that's what he's been working on. Reps to sharpen his touch, working on footwork, ball trajectory, routes, reading defenses, making checks at the line, all of that kind of stuff. What have you seen just in the last couple of weeks as we get to an actual game week against an actual defense? An update on what to expect out of Chase starting on Saturday.
Yeah, he's ready to go. I challenge the accuracy comment. I guess there's times if you come watch us at practice, you know what he's not going to do is throw a ball somewhere that he shouldn't. He is accurate. He's probably the most accurate passer that I've seen, and I get to see him on a day-to-day basis. So if he needs to fit it into a window, he can get it there in a hurry and he can place it. Anyways, but I get a chance to see him every day. Not everybody does. So I would say that he's in a good place. He's improved a ton. Definitely. His ability to move the pocket, run when he needs to. He looks so much more comfortable creating with his legs and then throwing the ball. So he's made some really, really big strides. I can't wait. He's healthy. I'm proud of him. He's going to have a great fall.
Right. I think maybe it was just purely based on 64% completion, which is really good. But we're talking about last year. You're talking about what you've seen since the end of last year.
Last year, people were asking me if he knew how to play quarterback. It's kind of a little bit what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, a year ago, people didn't know he could take a snap or read a defense or throw a ball. We thought he just couldn't do it. Now all of a sudden, he's the greatest thing. So I just know this. He's continually getting better. He's constantly improving. He is really evolved as a leader. His communication skills have really improved. And I'm talking about on the field with communicating what he's seeing and helping the receivers get on the same page, O-line, checking protections, checking plays. I mean, I've been really proud of his communication skills on the field, but even off the field, I've really seen him grow in speaking up more in team meetings and talking to the staff and really making sure that everything's how it needs to be. I mean, even over fall camp, I mean, he stops in here quite a bit, but just to check in on the schedule or give a suggestion here, he's really comfortable communicating, and he's right most of the time. So he's made some big strides. This would be, I would tell you this, if somebody doesn't have season tickets yet, I would get them because you're going to miss an opportunity to watch one of the better players we've had come through here if you don't get them.
I've been told he's maybe the funniest player on the team. Is he up there for you?
He could be goofy, around those guys. He can definitely crack some jokes. I think he's pretty entertaining too. Not in a comedian way. I think he's himself, and I think he's very perceptive. And so maybe drops a line on you that you wouldn't have been expecting from time to time, just because he's paying attention to everything, even if you didn't think he was. He's paying attention.
Yeah. Well, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the offense. Last year, they put up some good numbers, but lacked explosion. And that includes the first 7 games when your stick of dynamite, Chase Mason, was at quarterback. And you said drives would stall in the red zone too often, partly because they took too long. There wasn't an explosive play before they got to the end zone or the red zone. What's been the cure-all? I mean, I'm sure Eric Eisness is trying to draw up more explosive plays, but I'm sure they're already there. They just haven't exploded. What can we expect to be different?
Great question, because it's not necessarily different plays. There's a lot of times on film that you see a play that you would have hoped would have been 50 yards or 40 yards, and it was 20 or 30. And there's some physical things there. We have faster players. I mean, on the whole, when you look at just pure speed numbers, we have developed speed, whether it's in the weight room with Coach Morris and or on the field in strength training, or just in recruiting. We've got some faster players now. And then the understanding of how to take advantage of defense is much better, specifically with the running backs, but also the receivers and tight ends. Where defenses are weak, that leads to an explosive play. And we didn't block well enough, but we definitely didn't read defenses well enough in the run game to be able to hit the big play. And then in the pass game, we needed to get more consistent on, just having a little more altitude on passes to be able to let receivers run underneath them, probably call some more shots down the field. When Lofton got hurt, maybe we could have continued to open it up and throw the ball down the field. Lofton and Alex Bullock were very different players, skill set wise, but I think we could have continued to throw the ball to Graham and Lofton and even Jack Smith just down the field. So we've learned a lot as coaches, and we're going to take more shots. Our quarterbacks are throwing the deep ball better. Our backs and O-line are working more in sync. So it will translate into that is the key to playing great offense in today's college football is explosive plays. 15, 20 play drives they're great, but you'd love to have, I'd take 3 to 5 play touchdown drives all day.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a lack of explosive running plays. Sometimes the running back didn't see the right place to go. And of course, it feels like Eric Eidsness even said, doesn't feel like he said, it feels like we're going to have a running back by committee this year. And that maybe it'll sort itself out before game one. But what update do you have on who the primary guy is going to be and who we can expect at least to be the two guys who will get the bulk of the load?
We will rotate running backs throughout the season, and it won't be a byproduct of us not having one that's good enough. It's just going to be because I believe we actually have multiple guys that are worthy of carrying the football in touching the ball. So I think Josiah Johnson is such a big, physical, smart player. He's evolved his game a ton. And you go back and watch towards the end of the season, he was running the ball very well, and he's done nothing but improve. And so he'll get a lot of touches. And Corey Blair Jr. has become much more consistent and built his body to where he can take the physical toll of playing college football. And he's very confident. He could do a little bit of everything. And Ramon Jr. McKinney can hit the home run, but there's specific plays we want him in there for. And then even sometimes there's guys, James Basinger as well has been very productive. So there's I would tell you that situationally we will play different guys, whether it's pass protection, pass receiving, downhill runs, and they'll all be involved in some of it because we're not going to just have, pure tendency as to who's in that's these plays. But yeah, I would expect to see 3 for sure in games, but I'm hoping we can get in some situations where it's 4 or 5 backs. I've been really impressed. The thing I maybe like the most about the backs is there's, Josiah Johnson's a big downhill runner. Well, so's Brendan Begeman. So if you were to lose Josiah, you got Brendan can do the same thing. We have some different dynamic traits there. Javion Scott is kind of he's a true freshman for us, but he's similar to a Corey Blair build and running style. So it won't be something where if you lose one back, all of a sudden you have to change your offense. You got somebody with similar skill sets. Coach Cooper has done a great job developing that room. That room has come a long ways.
Cool. And of course, same can be said about the quarterback position. You'd hate to see it, but it happened last year if Chase Mason were hurt. It seems like, again, overall, there seems to be more insurance there in the room. But when it comes to QB2, who's going to be the first guy up, Eidsness told us that's probably going to be a game week decision. But again, I'll ask you, what's the latest on Josh Holtz, the transfer from Northern Illinois, and Jack Henry, the man we saw fill in for Chase last year?
It'll be a week-to-week decision. I would like to get those guys involved throughout the week of practice to let them continue to compete, and be able to balance reps. Reps are at a premium during a game week. You don't get as many as you do during a fall camp or a spring ball. So we'll have to structure that right. And I would love to have, even one of those guys, whether Chase is fully healthy or not, I would love to have them involved in the game plan to be able to take some snaps, whether it's at quarterback or other positions, to be able to be creative with some of those guys because we do have talent in that room. We have guys that can run. We've got guys that have played in college football games. And I think when you look at a guy like Jackson Henry, he's kind of got a skill set to do a lot of things. He can run really fast and he can run you over and he can throw it. And he's grown a lot. So I think Holston and Henny are kind of the two guys right now that have emerged through fall camp, but we're never going to put a complete we want to continue to keep developing Jack Thuey because he had a great fall camp and is coming around as a young player. And Anthony Rizak's been kind of banged up, but he's starting to get healthy again. And so it's fun to have competition in that room, certainly.
You mentioned Lofton Ogroski and the explosiveness taken away by him being hurt. A couple different checkpoints last year, but he missed the last several games. And he's been held out of some practices here in the fall camp, and so have a couple of defensive stars, Dawson Ripperda and Logan Green. What can you tell us about first of all, why have they been held out? And what can you tell us about all those three, their latest health status?
Yeah, they're good to go and play. Through a fall camp, we're balancing getting your guys that have played 1,000 snaps or however many reps. They've had a lot of game reps and experience under their belt, keeping their bodies fresh and healthy, especially if they've had a previous injury. That we just want to monitor and make sure that it's progressing how it should be. And then we want to make sure that we get a lot of reps for some guys that haven't played yet. And so, there would be no concern with those players. They've just played a lot of football, and we just want to make sure that they're able to start the season fresh and feeling good. So fall camp's a month long. It's a long time. There's days that sometimes they may even be pads, but you may tell a Graham Goring, hey, you're not doing this 7-on-7 period. We're going to let Landon take more of the reps today or whatever. There's constant almost load management like in the NBA, but only we just do it in practice, not games. And so there's the data that we have and the communication that we have as a staff is trying to make sure we enter the season as healthy as we can while making sure they have the reps they need to be successful. So I thought in the defensive line room and the receiver room especially, there's some very good second-year players that needed a lot of reps that haven't played, and I would rather had seen them than Logan, Rip, or Lofton.
Yeah, and then there's another one that was hurt really early last year, Reese Kirshenman. We had a chance to chat with him, the pass rusher from T, at Jackrabbit Media Day, and I mean, he kind of detailed how difficult it was for him, as mentally as it was psychologically, to not be able to be out there because he can really wreak havoc. You mentioned to me it was a little further than that. Like it was traumatic. Do you mind walking through just like what was traumatic about it for him and what it means to have him back?
Injuries affect guys differently. And I do believe that your injured players need you more than your healthy players from a mentoring standpoint and a relationship standpoint. When you have guys missing time, whether it's one practice or a game, so many times we think, and certainly people that aren't involved in the program think, well, he's just out a game or he's just out 2 games or he'll be back in 3 games. And it's not that big of a deal. And that's how they're talked about. That's not the case at all. I mean, these kids work extremely hard and they're here for, yes, to earn a degree and they love South Dakota State, but their dream is to play football. And the guys that we recruit love football so much and they're so competitive. If you take one practice from them away, that hurts them. And when they aren't suited up on the sidelines of a game day and they're watching their friends play and their brothers play, or their parents are in the stands and they're not able to see them play, I mean, those things can be very challenging for a young person. Now, in Reese's case, he's just an emotional guy, and that's probably wears that more on his sleeve than most. Some guys hold it in a little bit more, and I was actually thankful that he was open enough to be emotional and be vulnerable with the staff about that. So we spent a lot of time together. Our injured guys, I meet with a lot of our players once a week during the season, but if you're an injured player and you're out for some time, there's a one-on-one time where it's set up to meet with me, and Reese and I thought got really close during that time. So he just loves football. He loves football. It's, it's to be great at something, you almost have to be obsessed with it, and he is. And it was really tough for him because he felt so confident that he was going to have a great year. And for it to be an injury that kept him out so long. Now he's ready to go now. He wasn't really load managed. He had a great fall camp. I don't even ask him about it anymore. If anything, I just have to know where he's at on the field during practice to make sure he stays away from the quarterback, because odds are he's going to win his matchup.
Well, him and his former T area high school teammate, Chase Van Tol, a couple of wrecking balls, and Brian Bergstrom mentioned just how elite and special they are, and it sticks out just in how quickly and destructively they can make plays. And of course, Chase missed the last several games last year, so they were in the training room together, which Reese said that helped him in his emotions. But obviously, Chase Van Tol is back, and you've mentioned that he's grown up. He's got the same great raw athletic ability, but he has grown up a lot in the last 12 months. What does that mean? Give us some insight.
Just means he's a competitive, physical. He's what you want in a football player too. He doesn't overthink it. He's going to run and strike and do his thing. He loves the game. It's just easy to see with how he plays and how he practices, how much he loves it. When I say he's grown up a lot, I look at, as a football player, his fundamental technical, his footwork, his pad level, his eyes, his technique on how to get off blocks. He's really detailed up how to tackle and secure tackles. And, it's good to be a missile. It's better to just make sure the guy's on the ground and be a missile. He's just, from a football standpoint, really cleaned up his game. And then I just naturally, as you get older, you just kind of mature and grow up a little bit. And he's became very reliable off the field, somebody that you know what you're getting every day. I do believe that is one of the keys to being a great leader, is to just, everybody knows what they're getting every day with you, and we get his best. And he's a funny guy. He's got some great personality as well. So he's a blast. And the camp that he had, I just can't wait for to see him hit somebody else other than our guys and get out there and compete. He's somebody that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, that linebacking unit, that whole front seven, we've talked about it. We discussed it on Jackrabbit Media Day a couple of weeks ago. I mean, there are some great players who aren't going to get the first snaps, but will be rotating in, both a defensive line and linebacker, and a couple of incredible Wayne State transfers, especially Carter Sitzman up front. But I want to we'll turn the page to the game and the opponent itself on Saturday. And Stetson was 3-9 last year, lowest rated team in the FCS out of 130 plus the Massey rankings. They gave up 20 more points per game than they scored. Their average score last year was 39-19. And I know that was last year. And I know you guys don't want to overlook them. And this, we try to make this a cliche-free zone. And I know you guys are mature, so you're doing everything. Maybe you don't even need to make sure they're not overwhelmingly confident. But what about the Hatters are you guys most concerned about? What have you seen that will be challenging on Saturday?
We're concerned mostly, we're concerned about us. I know that if we play great, it doesn't matter if we're playing Stetson or Montana State. We're going to feel good about outcomes as long as we play to our best. So that would be the first, just principle that way. I would also say this team is primed to make a big jump themselves. Their head coach is early on in his career, and sometimes those, early in your career, you're building a roster. And I don't know, I'm not going to pretend to understand exactly what he was going through in his first year and getting that going. But, certainly I'm sure his staff's going to be on the same page and be a little bit cleaner. So will we. And he's had an opportunity to recruit and start building a team. I think they have some talented junior college players that they've brought in. They have a very good defensive end that's actually a former FBS player that went junior college that can get after the quarterback and pass Russia. They returned 2 players that have played a lot at quarterback. So when you're returning some experience at that position, it can definitely lead to a faster start than programs where they're breaking in a new guy. So I think offensively, the 2 quarterbacks will go through them, and we need to be ready for both of them. I actually bet they probably play 2 different quarterbacks and styles of offenses during the game. And then I think on defense, they've got the ability to rush the passer. They're an odd front team, which sometimes creates more like blitzing opportunities and chaos. Would be maybe more of their MO than playing good sound-based defense, like 4-down defense. So, I think that those are the things schematically and a few of the players to look for. But we need to play our best. We just need to, every single week. I really don't care who we're playing. We need to have an unbelievable game plan that we are all confident in, and we need to go execute it as coaches and players. We need to call great games, manage the game appropriately, put our players in position to have success, and they will make plays when we do that. So I just can't wait to get out here. It's gonna be sold out. I feel like we've been waiting a long time for a game.
Well, we're in the same boat together, and then you got to wait all day for it. 6 p.m. That's going to be your first few games, and that's great. We love night games. They're cool, and the weather's cooler. That's partly why you do it. What do you do all day when it's a 6 p.m. game?
I would do anything to play a bunch. I would love some 11 a.m. kicks, John. There's nothing better than an 11 a.m. kick, and you go out there and play great. It's 2:30, and you got your day in front of you. But no, we actually this fall camp did a few days where we started our practice at 6 in the evening, just for the players and coaches to get used to waiting around all day for practice. We all would love to get practice knocked out in the morning and then watch the film. But we practice for this. We bring them in the morning. We do a walkthrough. We feed them breakfast, and then they have about 4 hours off. They come back for whether it's chapel or meetings or pregame meal, and then they've all kind of got their routines that they go through from 2 to 6 before kickoff. We did a mock game on Saturday where we went through everything from the intro video to the locker room to the walkout to almost any situation that can arise in a football game. We went through that last Saturday. So we're ready to go from an operational standpoint. But, the 6 o'clock games are probably great for fans and everybody that's waiting around for it. I wouldn't mind some earlier kicks at some point.
I was going to leave it at that and wrap it up, but since you mentioned you had sounds like a scrimmage, or if that's what you want to call it, who really stuck out, or what stuck out?
So that was more, the interesting thing about that. So we call it a mock game, which isn't necessarily so much for the evaluation and scrimmage. It is, John, it's literally, hey guys, this is how we come out of the tunnel. This is where we stretch. This is where you do, because on game day, it's much different. Hey guys, we only have half the field. So here's where your drills are. And then we go through the mechanics of, it's a kickoff and it's a touchback and the offense comes out. And then I would script, it's almost a rehearsal. I would say, okay, on the third play, the offense is going to score a touchdown. Okay. Then we're going to go for 2 to work that. I mean, we work things that can and will go wrong. Like, hey, we only have 10 players on the field. What are we going to do? Who's going in the game? Am I going to call timeout? Do we take a delay? We went through, what do you do if you get a safety against you or you get a safety? What if it's a kicking off from the 50-yard line after a penalty, or kicking off after the 20-yard line due to a penalty? Onside kicks, hands team. I mean, it's about an hour and a half of just every situation you can get. Okay, we're on the extra point field goal team and we bobble the snap. What happens? Well, we're going to roll out and we're going to run fire, and here's our play that we're going to run there. It's and you could even do more. There's more things. It's a 2-minute drill where we need to get the ball and get out of bounds and work quickly down the field, and then run your field goal team on there because you don't have any timeouts, and so you got to run them on there and time that out. It's even things it's the end of the game and we're up and the offense has the ball and running back breaks free, when to go down, why he's going down, because now we can take a knee. Don't just run into the end zone. So smart teams win, and oftentimes situational football is what I mean when I say that. And it's hard to practice. It's tough if you don't make it a priority. So we'll do a bunch more of that this week too.
All right. Well, you're doing nothing to help me get through the week.
Let's go. There's some good games on Thursday too. Hopefully you can turn those on. There's some good FCS games
and some good D2 games around the around the neighborhood as well. Always a pleasure, Dan. We'll chat again next Monday. Good luck.
Looking forward to it, brother. Thanks.
Head coach, SDSU, Dan Jackson, here on Happy Hour. Cheers.